Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you what I call my whimsical wood grain zipper cup. So let's get started. So I'm using a 30-ounce modern curve. It's been spray painted white, sanded, washed. This color is sailboat blue. I apologize, my lighting, I need better lighting. And this one is raspberry. So those are the two colors that I'm using today. You can do these with whatever colors you want. So to start off with, I'm going to do strips of the sailboat blue. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to be blending them with alcohol, so don't worry about it being perfect. It's not going to look like this, obviously. Y'all have seen the cup. So, and then I am just filling in the other areas with the raspberry. It's okay if they mix together. You're going to be mixing them together anyway, so just get your colors on there. Don't worry about it being perfect or neat looking. I'm going to go over the blending part, but most of this video I am going to be fast forwarding through because it's repetitive. And if I didn't fast forward, this video would be over an hour long. So you're going to need some makeup brushes. These are ones that I got from Walmart, but you can get them at the Dollar Tree. I mainly use just one size and a smaller size, so you just want to make sure that you have different sizes. I'm going to be using 91% isopropyl alcohol. It's probably 10 to 15 mLs of alcohol that I used. And you're going to want a paper towel. So I start off with dipping my whole brush into the alcohol. And then I'm going to wipe off most of it. I don't want my brush saturated with alcohol. You don't need a lot of alcohol. This is kind of hard to explain in words. I'll do my best, but I suggest, my suggestion would be to just try it and play around with it and see how the alcohol and the inks react to each other. But right now I'm just giving myself a starting point. And once I've got my starting point, then I move my brush slightly. It's hard to explain. Slightly below where I started, and that gives me the layered look, or the wood grain look. Just move your brush slightly over from where you started. And the ink or the alcohol pushes your ink to the side, if that makes sense. That's why I suggest just trying it on a practice cup and just seeing how they react to each other, and you'll start to notice a pattern, and then you can just kind of play around with it. It's a more advanced wood grain technique, but it's not hard. But it is hard to put into words. So I like my wood grains with a lot of detail, a lot of knots in them. But you don't have to do as many knots as I did. It's a wood grain, but that's the cool thing about art. It's your take on it. So you can do this however you want, obviously. Well, that's not true, because there is a rainbow colored tree in nature. I think it's a type of eucalyptus tree. But so this multicolored wood grain is not too far out of the realm, but it's art, so it's your take on something. So you can do this however you want. So I like a lot of detail, so I tend to put a lot of knots and but you don't have to. So to do the knots, just draw your outer shape to give yourself an outline, and then each time to do another layer, just move your brush in slightly, and it'll give you those like outlines that give you that layered wood grain look. And it's alcohol ink, it's very forgiving, so just keep playing with it until you get it the way that you're happy with. When I feel my brush, how do I describe it? When it's hard for me to move my brush against the cup, it almost feels like it's sticking to the cup, I will just barely touch my brush to the alcohol. You do not need a lot of alcohol. You want your inks to move, but you don't want them to run. And so you'll notice that if you have too much alcohol on your brush, that your inks will start to run a little bit, or they'll almost look like watercolorish. And that means that you have too much alcohol on your brush. So just try and wipe it off on your paper towel. But I barely touch the brush, the tip of the brush, to the alcohol. So as you can see, I'm just making lines, and when I get done making one pass, then I'll move my brush slightly below that one, and it makes the layered look. I hope all of this is making sense. If it doesn't, please feel free to email me or message me, and I will try to help you as best as I can. Like I said, it's not hard to learn, it's hard to explain. So you kind of get the idea of what I'm trying to show you. As I said before, you can just do the straight lines up and down the cup. It looks pretty like that. Or you can put knots. You can do it however you like, but you pretty much get the idea. I hope you do. I hope I'm able to get that across to you. So for the rest of this wood grain portion, I am just going to fast forward through it. It's a really fun cup to make. I love making these cups. I just think they're fun and whimsical, and there's different color combinations that you can do. So right here I'm just trying to show you how to do a knot in the center of the cup. I still haven't gotten these down to where I like them, but that's the neat thing about alcohol ink. If you don't like it, brush over it and it's gone. I'm lightly brushing over this, and it's like it was never there. It's just so fun to be able to do things like this with the alcohol ink. It's really fun to work with. And then once you add alcohol to the mix, it's just fun to see how they react together. Like I said, this is a really fun design for me to do. I think this is, out of all the cups that I make, this is my husband's favorite. He just loves seeing every time I do one of these. And I showed one in a Facebook group that I admin for, and people were wanting to see tutorials. So I wasn't sure what the response would be because it's wood grain and it's pink and purple and blue. But people seem to really like it, so therefore the tutorial. So there's the cup, all done. So now we're going to do the bottom. I still haven't perfected my bottoms yet. Sometimes they look like tree rings and sometimes they come out looking like a carnation. This one came out looking like a carnation, but just play with it and you'll get it figured out. And I'm just using the same brush that I used for the wood grain. I don't have a size for the brush. The brushes that I used, this brush that I'm using right now, it doesn't have a number, but it is called a domed shadow brush. And then there's a smaller brush that I use, and it's called a flat smudger brush. So that is about the only information I can give you on the brushes that I use. So as you can see, I started on the outside, and then every ring that I make around the cup, I don't pull my ink as far out, if that makes sense. I stop right before the ring in front of it, and that gives me that layered tree ring look. And I'll use this brush until I get to the center, and then I will switch over to my smaller brush because obviously I have less room to work with the bigger brush. And then right in the center there is where I will put my signature. So we've got the wood grain all done, and I'm going to clean up this mess, and then we will get started with the next part. I wasn't happy with this piece right here, so I went back with the smaller brush, tried to fix it a little bit. So now it's time to apply our zipper. When you get your zipper, it's going to have fabric on the sides and on the top and on the bottom. You want to trim those off with scissors. And then you want to figure out your spacing. I like to space mine 4 inches on each side. So and then I'll mark it with a pencil. So just figure out your spacing. Get your zipper. Some people like them opened up more. Some people like them opened less. So just get all that figured out. And then mark it on your cup so you know where to start. I am out of E6000 glue. That's usually what I use for the zipper cups. But with all the madness that's going on outside right now, I am not able to get to the store. And I had UV resin. And it worked out perfectly. So I will put a link to that and the little light, the UV light that I used. I probably could have used my bigger UV light, the one that I use for my bubble cups. But I didn't want to get it out and plug it in, and so I just used this little UV flashlight and it worked out fine. And you might be thinking, well, why did I do the wood grain first and then do the zipper? I've done it the opposite way on my other cups, where I've done the zipper first and then the wood grain, and it's just based on how the cup looks afterwards. The other ones, I've done the wood grain around the zipper, and like the one in the picture at the beginning of this tutorial. And I wasn't really a big fan of how it looked, so I decided to try it this way, and I liked how this one looked. It doesn't take long if you've never used UV resin before. It doesn't take long for it to set up. I think I held my flashlight over each spot for about 30 seconds. I'm getting my zipper glued down into position to where I want it. I don't like it laying flat against the cup because I like to put charms from the zipper on my zipper cups, so I leave enough space to be able to unhook my charms to get them on and off, so I can switch them out if I want to, or if the customer wants to. So it didn't take that long using the UV resin. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in the zippered area with some white paint, because I'm going to be putting white glitter on it. Be careful, try not to get any paint on your zipper. The zipper was a gold zipper and I didn't like it, so I spray painted it purple first. And I forgot to mention that it was a 7-inch zipper. It doesn't have to be for jeans, it can be any zipper, but the 7-inch on this size cup works perfectly for me. The glitter I'm using is Wilcox from Glitter Gang. And this is the second coat of white paint, and it was still wet. So I went ahead and sprinkled my glitter over the top of it. There's a few spots that I missed, so I'm going to Mod Podge over them and sprinkle on some more glitter. So here's the cup. It's all done. I would wait a few hours before I sealed it because it will lighten the wood grain. But once you get it sealed, then you can go ahead and epoxy it and get your design on it and finish it up however you want. So I hope this helps. Bye everyone.